That was pretty smooth, Zoom. Oh shit, that was well done.
Yeah, that
I'm
wasn't
rarely
bad at all.
impressed by I'm rarely impressed by SSO sequences. Okay, so QuillSQL.com. All right, so fastest way to ship consumer-facing dashboards. Fastest is a very good value proposition. Customer-facing dashboards. Okay. Yep. Good. Front-end component library and data API for building customer-facing analytics. I like everything so far. Very clear value proposition. I know exactly when to use you and when not to use you. What's your email book demo? Perfectly fine CTA. Not super clear when the demo is, how long the demo is. All right, let's just throw my email in there and see what's up. So it's a cloud.com product discussion. And it's going to range of times. Good. No comments, no notes. Okay. And then it goes down to the site, rocket ship. Hopefully you have their approval for this. And I think the demo is nice. It would be nice if this was a little bit more interactive, but obviously that's difficult. What jumps out at me here? I don't know. It's pretty straightforward. Okay, so this is customer facing. So Rocketship is demoing, is showing their QuillSQL. So it's completely white labeled, as you can tell. So I'm a little bit confused. So I assume that all this is from QuillSQL, and yeah, no comments there. Customizable React components for every analytics use case. Share data in house. These color functions. Yep, all fine, all fine. Dashboard container style. Okay. I would like to know what container style is here, and if it's just like a JSON blog, then make it a JSON blog. If you can link to docs here, that would be nice. Table, invoices. Okay. Immediate question here is, can I sort by column? Can I filter by column? What's available to me? Looks like it's a no. And, or it looks like it's a concern of something above, which is fine, but also some tables come with that.
Yeah,
And sometimes that can be a nice option.
just to answer your question, I don't want to like interrupt you too many times, but yes, for a table component, it comes with filtering and sorting. You can sort every column, you can filter, you can search.
Oh,
And then
okay, it's not obvious.
yeah, just not nothing clickable right there right now. And the data, so you write a SQL query, it'll populate the table based on whatever data it's seeing, and it will configure for you. So depending on the data type, it will figure the filters for you. So if it's like an integer, we'll have a value slider. Like a string, it'll have like checkboxes for filters. If it's a date, it'll have a
Yeah,
thing, et cetera, et cetera.
yeah, fantastic. Okay. Report builder. And by the way, I use Tailwind, so like, does this Tailwind is always a fun question. Report builder, query builder, fantastic. Okay, no comments. Pretty good. Full feature in this API. Cool. React Components, API logic, semantic layer, SQL feature, access control, caching. Yeah, I think the communication is really clear, man. That's great. React hook for direct API access. Hmm. Where's the auth?
So auth we do handle. You pass in a customer ID, and then we can hit an endpoint on the customer side to validate their ID with a token. Are you wondering why there isn't? Are you expecting that there's like auth built into this hook right here?
Maybe. Or it's an open question that is not answered here, right?
Okay.
So like often people will disregard security in favor of ease of use, right? Nobody wants the front end to be able to do select star, and of course I'm sure you have ways against that. I'm guessing there's some kind of context hidden inside of here. But yeah, just show me rather than hide it.
Okay.
Connect to data source, create dashboards. Like, I mean, you're optimizing for it. Like, oh, look, it's 3 lines of code, but it's not, right? It's like 10 lines, but it's fine. It's just be honest about it. Connect data source, components. Yeah, okay. See how we stack up. Okay, embedded looker, Metabase license, 1 to 3 months, less than a week. Yeah, I always tend to like kind of not believe
Yeah.
this because obviously it's like self. You just pull it out from somewhere. Portal to manage dashboards. Interesting. Okay. 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 To charge any of your products. Great. You know, one thing I'm missing is a demo video. Is there one here?
Nope. That is something we've gotten very consistent feedback. So we know that so there's two things that are probably missing that almost everyone
Yeah.
asks for. One is docs. We're actually
Yeah.
getting all the feedback on the code sandbox first, because that way we
Sure.
know what is the main questions we have to answer in
Very
docs.
sensible.
And
Very
then
sensible.
two is like a Loom video connecting all these experiences together, where like maybe we do a Loom of actually showing a full implementation of Quill.
Yeah. Yeah. Do it in like between 5 to 10 minutes, and I think you're golden. Okay. Blah 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 blah. Okay, so try fastest. Oh, okay, hang on. This is a little bit of a new thing. Do you say embedded anywhere else?
No, we don't
Yeah.
use
So
it that much.
yeah. Look, if you want to call it embedded, but put it all the way up here, right? Like, um, put it somewhere here, because
You
it's like a weird thing to introduce all the
Would
way at the
that
end.
make it more clear for you? The reason I think we've shied away from embedded is because we want to create space between us and existing products. Because there are a variety of use cases you could support with Quill that you wouldn't be able to support with a traditional embedded BI tool. So
Like,
so the big thing is
like,
like because it's a component. So going back to the React hook. So that's why I was actually gonna ask you to go back to the React hook anyways, because what this is interesting for is connecting logic between our components and your existing components in your product. So to give you an example, like let's say we take like Expensify, right? Or some sort of like fintech thing where you have like a table and then there's going to be one column that's like formatted with buttons. And maybe you see a transaction, you click the button, and that's going to open up a separate component or product experience for you, like upload a receipt or something like that, right? Um, to build that flow, you'd have to build it in-house typically, because you couldn't use like an iframe, because an iframe is a separate application. You can't really connect the two. So if you want any sort of data experience that's like mixed in, it's like in your product flow, it's on multiple pages, you're creating workflows in your product, which all really good product companies do, you have to build in-house. With our
yeah.
solution, you can build those workflows, you can build those experiences, you can connect our components to your in-house components. And so you can build that vision that you have, that really good product experience, but not start from scratch.
Mm, mm. Okay. Um, got it. Got it. Got it. Yeah, it's pretty flexible. I like it. Yeah. So up to your messaging, but it was you can see like you can see it kind of bleeds over at the end.
Yeah,
The checkboxes is kind of weird. Why is this on the right? Should be on the left.
on the
I
left.
know. I don't know. I'm not I'm no designer, but it just looks weird.
Okay, cool.
Um, Host on premise, VPN, VPC, Docker Kubernetes. Can you show like obviously this is one place to link to docs. Row level access, row level security. Yeah, I need docs here too. Version control. Yeah, all this citation needed.
Yeah,
You have your
basically,
SOC 2 Type 2?
we are like working with the company in the process. So if someone asks us for it, we can give them like a letter of attestation, but we don't have like the official badge yet.
You have your Type 1?
I believe we passed it. I'll have to check with Sean. Sean's managing it with our partner right now. My co-founder's name is
Okay.
also Sean.
It's a great name. Okay, good,
Yeah,
good,
there's a
good.
lot of
Yeah, so
I was gonna say there's a lot of
but
places where we have to add CTAs. Like there's not that many CTAs. So I think there's a lot of places like we're gonna link to docs rather than have lots of places to book a demo or whatever, like with most enterprise solutions. Like so demo top and bottom. And then it'll be docs, linked to docs for a lot of the other stuff. Like you see the components, we'll probably have like a copy and paste button and it'll link to docs, stuff like that.
cool. Yeah, so great landing page. I do think it's well designed. I think it communicates what you're trying to do clearly. I'm curious in as to what part, I think it's very much emphasizing the React components. Um, and I don't see anything about your portal, right? You make some references to your portal, your backend, your whatever, and I don't see it, right? Maybe because it's not there yet, right? So of course, but the more you are, the more I can tell how much of your products is React components, which I can use with or without you, with or without your backend, and then how much is reliant on your backend. The more I will be able to understand what you are and when to use you.
Cool. That makes sense.
Because
When you feel,
you have all this stuff like data API, semantic layer. Yeah, sorry, sorry.
oh, I was gonna say, I'm gonna give you a little quick explanation on the portal whenever you're ready, but like keep going, and I can kind of tell you about the portal when you're done.
What? Well, this is a very front end message, right? Like everything is like component React. Look at our React API, blah blah. Doesn't talk about the backend,
Mhm.
and if I'm paying QuillSQL, like I would want to know how substantial is the backend service that I'm getting. I see data API, so that's where I see portal. Show me, and then I'll know better.
Okay. And when you say show me, so you're like that little like one block, if you go up a little farther, where we talk about the API, where it's like caching, semantic layer, you're not talking about like marketing or copy. You're like, show me in docs what the backend API does.
Sure, or like show me the architecture, or show me the UI. Uh, yeah,
Okay.
or
Cool.
show a demo video.
Yeah. Yeah. Cool. Now let me tell you about the portal. We actually just finished up the portal, so we have materials that we can add to it, or add to docs. The way the portal works is that is where you're like your central place for the team to manage the actual queries and the views. So you don't want to expose your database directly. You want to create views or expose specific tables at a time. You probably want to reformat or rename headers. You might want to like remove or add columns of certain tables, et cetera, et cetera. So that you can do in our portal. And that's where you create all the views that the React components work off of or reference. And then you also create and manage all your charts in there. So if you have different charts for different customers, even if you have different charts all over your product, you're managing and creating them in the portal. And then when they get exposed through the React component, that's when the styling and whatever you want to change in the component gets applied.
Okay.
Cool. So if you feel like you kind of are like tapped out on the website, I sent you one more link. And I'll just orient you to this real quick and then go do whatever you want. On the left, you'll see the file structure. On the very right, you'll see an example dashboard that's loading right now. And the example dashboard is, why is it so slow? Oh, yeah.
My Wi-Fi is not the
Yeah.
best.
And then, so this is an example dashboard built with our components. So you can click into the charts. You can see the table component in there too. And then you see the React code in the app.js file.
Where's the table component? Oh,
So if you click a chart, yeah. So right now, this table component is very, very simple because in order to graph it right, you have to like roll up the data. But you can use that same component to have much more complex tables. So if you want like 6, 8, 10 columns, whatever, all different types of data, that's fine. But it's the same
okay.
component
All right.
used
Fair enough.
regardless of the simplicity or complexity of the use case.
Fair enough. Yeah, nicely done. I might want like a custom window here. Um,
What do you
it's
mean?
always typically it's this quarter, last quarter, 2 quarters ago,
Yeah.
all time, and then sometimes you want a custom windows, right?
Oh, gotcha. Yep, that makes sense.
And then how do you go back? To click the back button. All right, and that's not super useful.
Yeah, these are like our data set is like it's fake data for this. So it's like really, really, it's like one table, super simple. So like I think it would be a
You could
good
hook it up
make
to
more
one of
complex
the
data.
open data set. Yeah. Do like New York City traffic or whatever. There's a bunch of these out there that
Okay.
would be more realistic.
Yeah, and if we add more of our complex components, like if we add a report builder in here, it's not really interesting unless you have like more of a complex data set where you have lots of tables.
Yeah. Okay. Pie chart. Yeah. You know what'd be good if okay, so I guess this is side by side with the code. Column component. React router. OG. Uh, so like if I wanted to get from here to the dashboard to see the SQL query that generated this time, I would have to use the like the ID.
So yeah, are you speaking as an end user or as a customer of Quill?
Customer of Quill who's developing with Quill.
Yep. So if you want to go see the query, you would go to the Quill portal, and there on every chart, there's an option to just go open in the SQL editor, and then it'll show you the query that was used, and you can edit it if you'd like.
Hmm. Okay. And then the end user can personalize it.
Depending on what
So
our customer or our user wants to expose. So some people want to only expose pre-configured experiences. Some people want to allow their customers to customize their experience. Either is fine with us. It
yeah, yeah.
depends on what they want.
Oh wow. Yeah. Yeah. Wow. Yeah, it's very flexible. Powerful. What is use report? What is that?
So you'll see, you might notice that, hey, like this dashboard has like 4 or 5 charts, but there's only one table component and one chart component being used. And that's
Yeah.
where the report ID comes in. Is like you feed in the ID and it renders
Oh, okay. This
charts
is
you
just a
need.
reusable
So it's
component.
very, very
Okay.
flexible.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, okay. But then this is report down here. Reports ID. Oh, I see, I see, I see, I see, I see. Oh, I see, I see, I see, I see. Oh, okay. It's insights and dashboard, and then these are all the forward dashboard. Yeah, the code is very simple. It ties in with the router.
And then you were asking
Incorporating
like,
set user ID.
sorry, go ahead.
So like C as user here
Mhm.
would be really cool because that shows off the personalization that you have, which I assume you want to tell people you have.
So when you say
So
C as
making this,
user, do you want that in code or do you just want that functionality?
yeah, just put it in here, right? Top right.
Yep. So that we have that in the Quill portal. There's a selector. You can enter whatever customer ID you want, and you can see their specific experience.
Right. And yeah, I would just chuck it on here as well in the demo since, I mean, you have
Okay.
the functionality, you clearly just not using it.
Yep.
So,
Yeah, I can actually try and log into the portal right. I know Sean's like literally making changes to the portal right now, so let me see if I can get in. And if I can, I'll show you.
yeah, I mean, it's a great demo, man. Like, very straightforward, like not, doesn't have a lot of crust, but then it shows something useful with it. Um, I like it a lot.
Cool. And then some specific things that might be, well, I'll mention one thing you kind of asked, like, hey, like, when you look at the page, like how, usable are these components without your backend and stuff. And you'll notice there's like an API key. There's a lot of stuff that we're opinionated or abstracting from the user. So like it right now, like you have to use our full service. Like you won't really, I don't know how much value somebody could get just copying our components, which is kind of a good thing. This is
Yeah,
like
yeah,
open
yeah,
source, right? You need the API key.
yeah.
With the API key, though, in the portal, you get a lot of value. And the ideal kind of balance we're trying to strike is abstracting as much as possible so that the annoying stuff around like configuring the chart, you don't have to connect to endpoints, anything like that. Like the whole middleware and configuration is taken care of for you. But we do want to expose enough where people feel like I get all the control that I need. So like I can control the styling and the CSS to the extent that I feel comfortable making this a feature of my product. I can grab the data, use it with other components. So things like that are important to us to make sure we're kind of hitting that right balance of like making this very easy for you and abstracting the stuff that you don't want to deal with. but also exposing the things that are important to you.
Mm. Yeah. You do want to document this well. You want to ship types for your theme object here. Um,
Yeah, we have to add
I guess.
TypeScript. We don't have that yet.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, but I mean, yeah, all this is small stuff, you know. So I think you got the big stuff right. So that's great. And then now that I've looked at this, I would say focusing on front end component library maybe less important. Um, and if you're very React centric anyway, just say so, right? Like, so maybe something like, hey, we're the fastest fastest way to embed analytics for your user using React, using our React components, or whatever, or like for React developers. Getting very, very specific, but also I can be like, I know that you're not a front end component library that I can use independently. Um, like the front end component library is just a way to deliver the dashboards. The dashboards are the main story. Um, so.
Cool. And then also, we actually changed the word dashboards from like analytics yesterday, just based on some feedback. We're just trying out the word dashboards for some of these interviews.
Yeah,
Based on what your understanding of the product is now, and how I mentioned you could use an individual chart by itself, an individual table, you can combine them into a dashboard, you can put them in various places in your product. Is there like
yeah,
certain verbiage that makes more sense to you or you think is better?
that's interesting. Dashboards or analytics are fine. I can see pros and cons for both. And yeah, I don't have a strong view here. Um, I think if you made me choose, I would prefer analytics because analytics is a better descriptor. Dashboards are more of a full, complete thing. So that's my 2 cents.
Okay, cool. Let's see. I don't think I have any more like explicit questions to ask you, but if you have any other thoughts, any other feedback, open to anything and everything you have to comment on.
Um, no, I think it's just impressive. I like the way that you're doing discovery and development. Um, one question is, what about EDA type use cases? So I think real developer is getting some mindshare for EDA use cases. Um, and it does seem like you do some intelligence around like displaying your data, displaying your tables properly based on the data types. Um,
And
but it
and
could
I'm sorry,
be
can you define EDA for me?
exploratory data analysis.
Okay.
Uh,
Oh, so you're saying
so
like what do we expose to the end user for that, or what do we expose to our customer who's going to implement Quill for that?
um, potentially both.
Okay.
Because I mean, just depending on how technical the end user is, technical end user might love it, or they might be completely overwhelmed. It really depends. All I'm saying is like, hey, Roll Data is kind of in this space of embedded analytics. They focus on EDA, and like it's just super useful to have your first instinct be like, let's throw Quill at it. Like, hey, here's some data. Let's throw Quill at it. Right now, there's a bit of friction because I have to go set things up in your dashboard, and like think about how I want to present things. I kind of just don't want to think. I want to throw like the usual mess of charts at it, and then pick the charts that I want to show.
Okay. So you're saying, I guess your ideal use case is like where we're like based on the data that you connect to, we connect to a data source and we're like maybe like dynamically exposing or suggesting views you should create, charts you should create, reports you should create. And then from that list of things that we create, you kind of go, oh, that one's interesting. That one's interesting. Let me put that in my product.
Yes, you don't even have to suggest. You can just kind of run whatever you can run. It's not even like a suggestion so much as like just throw spaghetti at the wall.
Okay. Yeah, because I would say
So
that
have you seen Real? Oh,
I've run into it, but I have not really actually used it at all.
yeah. So like the first time you get any data whatsoever, they really encourage you to just throw it into Real. You know, like that's your first instinct, right? You can discover, you can explore it in raw format, right? But it's already valuable from like showing you some basic summary statistics, and then you can sort of develop that into analytics. That you're like, okay, this is cool, pull it out, and then you're like, okay, these are cool, pull it out, and then you have the dashboard, right? But I'm developing it from the raw data. You know, I'm developing it from the
So is it so you
raw
threw a
data.
bunch of tables in here and then real data like is creating joins automatically and saying like this seems interesting to join? Like how is that?
No, not even that smart. This is the dumbest shit possible. It's literally like, hey, every column, you know, what can we tell you about every column? Like, oh, this looks like a date column. I got nothing for you. This looks like a name column. Okay, there are 8,000 names. Like that's pretty cool, right? Like you know, run the usual stuff that everyone wants to run per column type, uh, and then you can tell like, okay, this is probably a true false column, right? You know, oh yeah, it says TF here, right? Like there's 13 action types. That's pretty cool. I don't know what this percentage thing is, but like you know, the more you use it, the more you like understand.
Mhm.
You can sort of click and then it sort of visualizes. You're like, oh, okay, this is like nice chart, right? But it just makes exploration easy, so that you can develop charts like this, um, and then publish it.
Okay. Um yeah, so I guess my quick answer to that is the exploratory analysis that we give to the end user is pretty decent because they can either, if they're non-technical, they can open up the SQL kind of the query builder, which is like pretty good. Like you can do almost everything you can do in SQL except joins. You can do filters, sorts, group bys. If you're a technical person, you can actually open up, you can expose a SQL editor to your end customer. Seen like Stripe Sigma, they can have a Stripe Sigma experience where they're just literally querying their data like it's their own database, but directly out of the customer's product. In terms of the EDA that we expose to the internal person, our customer, I would say it's, it's nothing special. Like they can, like we kind of have this theory that they know a little bit about what they want to expose to their customers. Like a lot of the people that use us, like they come to us with ideas already. Like they know they typically have SQL views that they're already giving us, they're already giving us. Um, so I think that's definitely something to keep in mind of like, is there a way to help us improve our customers' experience over time by suggesting more things or helping them create more things? But at least for that initial start, we
Yeah,
don't have much of a problem there. But I would say, yeah, like in terms of like compared to other tools, what we do really well compared to other tools is exposing those functionalities to the end user.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, very cool.
Cool. Well, dude, thank you so much. I really appreciate your time. I really appreciate your feedback. If you don't mind sending me the recording, that would be awesome. And then
Yeah,
otherwise, if you have any other thoughts, comments, would love to hear it. And then what I can do is as we build this out and kind of flesh this out with the docs and stuff, I can keep you updated if you have any interest and if you want to take a look at it again down the line.
okay, yeah. My pleasure. Happy to help, and congrats on your. You know, I think you've the design is really good, and I think you have a good space carved out.
Sweet. Cool. Thank you so much,
All
Sean.
right,
All right.
see ya.
Bye.